Mom's scream sliced through the stillness like a blade. I can still picture the phone shaking in her grip, her knuckles drained of color, her breath snagging between every word. Mark's been arrested. The feds, they pulled him out of the house like a criminal. For a heartbeat, the whole room warped. The lamp buzzed. Dust drifted lazily in the air, almost mocking. And I felt it. Something dark and familiar twisting inside me. Not surprise. Recognition. This was the moment I'd been waiting for. But I didn't tell her that. Not then. I just stood there steady, as the illusion my family worshipped finally cracked in half. And while Mom cried, repeating his name like a prayer, I whispered the thought that had lived inside me for months. Good. Let him burn. Mark wasn't always the family's shining prodigy. He earned that title over time. Polished charm, effortless smiles, handshakes that made strangers feel chosen. He entered every room like the air belonged to him, and stupidly I admired him for it. He married my sister when I was 20. I remember that first dinner. How he slapped my back, laughed too loudly, and called my job at the archives cute, dusty beneath him. He said it with a grin. I treated it like a joke. I shouldn't have. But back then he was the story everyone loved to tell. Self-made, brilliant, untouchable. The kind of man who kissed babies at parties and never forgot anyone's birthday. I wanted to believe he was good for my sister, for all of us. I had no idea that beneath all that shine was a rot no one else bothered to smell. It started with his phone left on my parents' counter one Christmas. An accident, he insisted later. A slip. But I saw the notification he didn't want anyone to see. A message from someone named V. Not a coworker, not a friend. Something else. I didn't open it, I'm not reckless. But I watched him snatch the phone like it was evidence he needed to hide. He laughed too loudly, talked too quickly, wouldn't meet my eyes. That was when the air shifted. After that, the signs came quietly but steadily. Late nights. Business trips that didn't match his calendar. My sister's empty smile, one she didn't realize she wore. Everyone else saw brilliance. I saw patterns. And patterns always tell the truth. The confirmation arrived disguised as something ordinary. A package delivered to my apartment by mistake. Inside were documents, contracts, transactions, digital records he must have assumed no one would ever read. But I read every line. It wasn't an affair. It was worse. Shell companies, fraud, laundering, names that weren't his. A trail buried under pure arrogance. And something in me settled. Not anger. Not grief. Purpose. If he wanted to mock my dusty job, he should have remembered one thing. I know how to trace history, especially the kind people try to wipe clean. I didn't confront him. Men like Mark crumble only when they think they're untouchable. So I smiled at holidays. I clapped when he bragged. I let him believe he controlled the story. Meanwhile, I gathered everything: dates, transactions, emails rebuilt from metadata he didn't know existed. Photos, witnesses who didn't even realize they were witnesses. I moved quietly, methodically. No wasted motion, no emotional fingerprints. And once it was all organized, I sent the full dossier to 3 places. 1, a federal agent who handled white-collar crime. 2, my sister. 3, Mark himself. His email bounced. He'd blocked me. Arrogance always makes the job easier. The agents knocked at 6:14 a.m. I know because I timed my drive to pass their street right then. He stood in the doorway barefoot, stunned, still wrapped in the myth he'd built around himself. Reality hit him in the form of cold steel around his wrists. He yelled, protested, tried to charm his way out. They didn't care. My sister stood behind him, hair messy, eyes wide, holding the printed documents I'd sent. She didn't look at me as I rolled past, but she didn't look at him either. That was enough. 3 days later, he finally called me from jail, voice cracked, begging, demanding to know who had done this. I let silence speak first. Then I said only someone with a dusty job. He broke. I didn't. Now the family sees who he really was. Now my sister is free. Now Mom understands why my voice didn't shake that morning. I didn't do this for revenge alone. I did it for justice, slow, precise, deserved. Funny thing about dust. People think it means neglect. But Dust remembers. Dust holds history. And in the end, Dust buried their golden boy.